Without wasting your time, we are going to share top 5 best electric lunchbox. The product links are in the description and in first comment. The number 5 on the list is Usevic electric lunch box. Usevic electric lunch box. I've used this lunch box for about 9 months now, and it works great. It heats food quickly and gets it piping hot, too hot perhaps. I have to let it cool a bit before I can eat it. Not a complaint. Top marks there. Note, if you are using the car adapter, you have to about double the time for heating the food through from what you experience using the wall adapter. Also not a complaint, just a note, using the car adapter required a bit of planning to have the food hot when I wanted it to be. The instructions say not to heat frozen food if I recall, but I put my food into the lunchbox frozen, fully cooked. I would not attempt to cook raw food from frozen, and with the wall adapter, I can have my lunch heated through in about 30 minutes if I must. I usually plug my food in about an hour before I want to eat it, and that works well for me with my work situation. In the car, I would give food that cold at least an hour to warm through less if the food wasn't stone cold to begin with. Possibly more, depending on how full the lunchbox is. Now the design flaws, in my opinion. Before I purchased the lunchbox, I read through many reviews and had some concerns. There were some complaints that the silicone handle had broken. I decided to buy the box anyway and just be really careful with the handle. So far my handle is holding up, but I never use the handle to carry the unit unless I support the lunchbox from underneath with my other hand. I can see why the handle breaking could be a concern. It doesn't feel very sturdy. I carry my electric lunchbox in my regular canvas lunchbox and use the silicone handle only to lift the electric lunch box in and out of my regular lunchbox. Which brings me to the second reason why I never carry the electric lunchbox by the handle only. The number 4 on the list is Beauvoir electric heating lunchbox. Beauvoir electric heating lunch box. Here is another high-ranking electric lunch box. This UMIS product meets all of the safety standards to provide you with the most enjoyable and healthiest lunches ever, indeed, as it is made from great dietary materials with excellent heat resistance and dual insulation function. You do not have to worry whether your foods will be contaminated during the heating process. And thanks to the easy-to-carry design, this item has high portability to transport either to work, school, or on the road. I bought this lunch box last month because I don't have a microwave oven at my workplace. It arrived late, 1 week after the assured date. Generally I carry rice and curry for lunch. It takes around 30 to 45 minutes to heat. The number 3 on the list is Travelissimo electric lunch box. Travelissimo electric lunch box. There's absolutely no insulation to this product, so I doubt this will perform like you want in cold weather. The heating element simply will not be able to keep up with the ambient chill. That said, in a heated setting, it should work, although I've only tried with the AC power. It heats up leftover food, but the bottom tends to burn. I actually keep the vent closed because I just don't think the heating element is robust enough to matter if it's vented or not. I think it'll heat things up faster unvented. The plastic tray inside is fairly flimsy and it gets easily stained by pasta sauce. I'll see if it comes off. A simple soap and water didn't work. It's obviously not dishwasher safe, too thin and flimsy. The aluminum main tray is thin. That probably helps it to heat up faster, but I think it'll have durability concerns. The bottom especially could be a major problem because if it deforms out of shape, it'll lose contact with the heating element in the unit. If you ever tried to use a frying fan that is bowed, you'll know what I mean. A slightly thicker, more robust bottom would have been nicer, even at the cost of somewhat slower heating. While it might heat up slower, it will also retain the heat longer too, so it'd be a net wash with the benefit of better durability. If the container doesn't sit absolutely flush with the heating element, then this thing basically becomes useless. The number 2 on the list is HotLogic Mini Portable Oven. HotLogic Mini Portable Oven. So, I personally think that the company should consider redesigning the latches, particularly or a simple solution would be to offer a carry case for the lunchbox. I think that would satisfy anyone that may have qualms about the security of the handle and the latches. I don't think this is a lunchbox that you could carry as a lunch box as is. Not in a carry case unless you take precautions. Personally, I don't have a problem with that as I never intended to carry the lunch box as is. It functions well in the car. It functions even better plugged into a wall outlet. The silicone seal for the lid is a great design and seems to seal very well, though I haven't specifically tested it for leaking. My only other quibble, and this is a really small kind of nitpicky observation, is that the silverware included, while very nice and well made, is very small, suitable in size for a toddler. IMO, I never use them and prefer to bring my own cutlery from home, but I do leave the silverware in the unit in case I forget to bring cutlery. I always have some available. If you plan to use the cutlery included with the lunchbox, remove them before plugging the unit in, as I have read complaints that they become hot if left in their compartment. This I cannot confirm, but suspect is probably true. The number one on the list is portable oven. Portable oven, I've used mine for several meals now and it's really quite capable. It has significantly broadened the range of meals I can prepare on the go, as previously I was just using a 12V kettle for things that can be made with hot water. I've tried it on both 12V and 24V, but not yet on mains power. If you have 24V, it heats twice as fast, but you'll need to stir things frequently, as there's a risk things will burn on and then cleanup becomes very difficult. So long as I use 12V or stir things sufficiently, at 24V I can get the thing clean with 3 or fewer wet wipes depending on what was in it. Just don't let stuff dry on if you won't have access to a sink before your next use. You should be mindful of the gasket on the lid. Chili and some other foods can stain it if you don't make sure the top of the metal pan is clean before you putting the lid back on. There are 2 other things to be mindful of. The latches are a bit delicate when open, and I managed to accidentally crack the plastic of the lid that serves as hinge for the latch while preparing my second meal. I managed to get the latch back in and glue it back together for now. From an engineering perspective, I'd say the holes that the latches snap into are a bit too close to the edge of the plastic lid, given the brittleness of the high-temperature plastic used. That really should be fixed in future versions. Company starting to make us go back to the office. Great for avoiding the long line at the microwave, especially when you are behind those with soup, stew or the 1-minute open taste repeat guy. I measured the current at the beginning and it started from 0.7A and after 20 minutes went to almost 0A. This tells me that the hot plate is about 80 W when cold and has a PTC to limit current. As it gets hotter, the food was warm but not quite at the temp I liked. I touched the plate at the end and the plate was relatively hot compared to the metal removable canteen box. The heat plate just relies on touching the metal canteen to transfer heat, but contact is probably not the greatest. This leads to the hot plate getting up to temperature and shutting off when the food is not so hot. By adding a silicone heat transfer pad, the kind used for computer, IC and heat sinks, the transfer seems to be much better and food getting much hotter. I got the 0.5mm one, which does not affect the lid closing. The lid uses vacuum seal to stick to the metal canteen, works quite well now. It has a small red light to show power is on. Overall much better than sticking my food into a communal microwave.